Midnight Season 2 takes gear all the way up to 344 item level, but the fastest gearing route actually starts before the season properly opens. Because there's a guaranteed 305 piece of hero gear you can get this week, everything you're doing right now can already build towards your first Season 2 Great Vault, and once Mythic Plus opens, there's only a handful of difficulty breakpoints that really matter for gearing. So if you want to get ahead without wasting hours on stuff you've already outgrown, this is how I'd approach it. So the best gear you can get this week. And the first thing I'd go after is that 305 hero piece. You need to progress the 12.1 campaign far enough to unlock the Coiled Isle and the vaults of Atul Utek. Once you're down there, pick up the quest A Toxic Tour. Complete the activities it asks for, and one of the rewards is a Trove Hunter's Bounty. Now this part is important. Do not immediately use that map. Your delve tiers need unlocking again for Season 2, so work your way through them until you've got Tier 8 available. Once you're actually ready to run a Tier 8 or higher delve, activate the Trove Hunter's Bounty and then complete the delve. The hidden trove at the end gives you a guaranteed 305 hero 1 of 6 piece this week. And because bountiful delves aren't open yet, this works perfectly inside a normal Tier 8 delve. So the order is get the bounty, unlock Tier 8, then activate it. That is easily one of the best pieces of gear available before Season 2 properly begins. And while you're working through those delves, you're already building your first Season 2 Great Vault as well. The World Row gives you a choice after 2 activities, another after 4, and a final one after 8. Tier 8 is the important gearing target here because it can set your World Vault reward at 305 hero 1 of 6. So the delves aren't just getting you a guaranteed 305 now, they're setting you up for another hero level opportunity at reset. Then I would look at Mythic Zeros. M0 is currently dropping 292 champion 1 of 6 gear, and this week it's still on a weekly lockout, but once Season 2 properly starts, that changes to daily. So if 292 is still an upgrade for you, absolutely use those lockouts where they can improve your character. But if you're already geared beyond 292, the absolute peak of Season 1, don't suddenly spend the entire week full clearing every dungeon just because somebody gave you a giant checklist, i.e. me. Your dungeon row in the Great Vault unlocks after 1, 4, and 8 dungeons, and heroic dungeons count towards that row as well. So decide what you're trying to actually achieve here. If you want the better M0 direct gear and the stronger dungeon vault setup, do your M0s. If you've already completely outgrown that gear and you only care about unlocking the dungeon choice, you don't need to pretend every M0 is mandatory. And while you're sorting all this out, pick up your current weeklies and make sure you're collecting your Spark of Tides progress as well. Get the crafting resource, just don't assume getting it means you should instantly spend it. Right, once Season 2 properly opens, Mythic Plus becomes one of the biggest repeatable gearing sources in the game. We all know that. And rather than trying to remember the entire reward table, there are 3 big numbers I'd focus on: 6, 9, and 10. There is one smaller breakpoint before those though. At +4, you start earning hero miss crests. The actual dungeon drop is still champion track at that point, but if hero crests are what you need, that's where they begin. Then at +6, the actual gear itself moves to the hero track. End of dungeon loot becomes 305 hero 1 of 6. That's why +6s is the first major gearing target for me. Once 6s are comfortable, you've got a repeatable source of hero track gear without waiting on a weekly lockout. Then comes +9. The direct item is 308 hero 2 of 6, but the important change is that myth crests, that is crazy hard to say, start dropping here. So if you want to push your strongest gear further or start preparing those higher end crafting pieces, 9s suddenly become much more valuable. And then +10 is the big one. End of run gear reaches 311 hero 3 of 6, while your Great Vault reward jumps to 318 myth 1 of 6. That is the main M+ gearing target I'd ultimately be working towards. And here's where knowing the table can save you wasting effort for the completely wrong reason. Doing an 11, a 12, or anything higher does not increase that basic end of run item level or your standard Great Vault reward beyond what a +10 gives you. Push higher for score, push higher for achievements, push higher because you actually enjoy challenging yourself. But if you're pushing a 12 because you think the basic gear is better than a 10+, it isn't. So remember, +4 is hero crests, +6 hero gear starts, +9 is myth crest start, and +10 is the mythic vault. And for the actual gear and journey, 6, 9, and 10 are the big targets I care about. Then we've got the obvious, the Venomous Abyss, and the Heroic Raid looks ridiculously strong for gearing this season. Normal starts at 292, Hero starts at 305, and Mythic starts at 318, obviously. And then the final two Mythic bosses are where the actual 344 item level gear starts appearing. But the direct drops aren't even the full reason I like Heroic. Blizzard has buffed the raid rewards in the Great Vault. So while Heroic bosses are dropping Hero Track gear directly, your Heroic Raid Vault rewards jump to 318 Mythic 1 of 6. That makes Hero Raid extremely difficult to ignore if you're capable of clearing it. You've got hero gear from the bosses, tier pieces, raid specific weapons and trinkets, and you're simultaneously building towards a Mythic Track Vault reward. For a heroic capable player, this is one of the first things I'd make space for every week. Then there's the Tidebound Grotto. Right now, only world difficulty is open, dropping 297 veteran 1 of 6 gear. It's okay if that's useful to you. Go and grab your chance at an upgrade. If you're already miles beyond 279, I'm not going to pretend it suddenly becomes essential just because it's new content, but go and try it for fun anyway. And then there's the useful Great Vault detail here as well. Nimrissa does count towards the raid run, but the first raid vault choice requires 2 bosses, and Nimrissa is the only raid or layer boss available this week. So killing her alone does not unlock a raid choice for next reset. Once Season 2 starts, the other difficulties open. Normal, Heroic, and Mythic all give gear related to their item level, and all from one boss. Heroic in particular looks like excellent value if you get the kill efficiently, and if your group is capable of Mythic, then obviously a shot at 318 Mythic from one encounter is huge. So if this is already making the gearing mess easier to follow, hit that like button, join the sweats, because we've got plenty of Season 2 stuff coming. Now, if you mainly play solo, Delves move way up that priority list when Bountiful Delves open next week. At tier 8, the Bountiful reward reaches 295 champion, 2 of 6, while both the Trove Hunter reward and the World Vault can reach 305 hero. And tier 8 is still the important breakpoint if your main concern is the regular gear. Going to tier 9, 10, or 11 doesn't keep increasing that basic Bountiful or standard vault item level, but the higher tiers aren't pointless. Tier 11 is where hero, myth, crests become one of the reasons to push further. So if I'm running 11s, I'm doing it for the crests, journey progression, or because I just want the extra challenge as a solo player. Not because I think every extra delve tier secretly adds another few item levels to my basic vault piece. For primarily solo players, that makes tier 8 Bountiful Delves one of your best accessible gearing routes. For somebody already comfortably doing plus 10s and heroic raids, they're still useful, but they don't need to become the center of your entire week. Then there's Prey. Normal and hard are available right now, while Nightmare opens with Season 2. Prey contributes to the same world row as Delves, so it can basically help build out your vault choices. And once Nightmare opens, it becomes more relevant for players whose main progression does come from solo or world content. But again, context matters. If your normal week is already giving you hero and mythic opportunities through Raid and Mythic Plus, Prey is something I'd use to supplement that route rather than treating it like another mandatory grind. Now let's pull it all the way back to Sparks of Tides. A normal Season 2 Spark craft can land between 292 and 305, depending on the crafting quality. Once you start enhancing those crafts with stronger crests, the ceiling goes much higher. Hero Miss Crest crafting can reach 318, and the Mythic side crafting can reach 331. And that's why crafting is so useful. Drops give you whatever the game decides to give you. Crafting lets you specifically solve a problem. So my advice early in the season is simple. Collect your sparks, but spend them deliberately. If your weapon is awful, and it normally is, and the crafted one is normally a big upgrade at Mythic, then I would always choose that. It makes sense. If one slot, however, is miles behind, it's a great use of crafting. If there's a crafted piece that genuinely is great for your spec, and you know you're going to be keeping it forever, go for it. But crafting some random piece just because a spark appeared in your bags, I'd wait until I actually know what problem I'm going to be fixing. Do not waste your best resources, and this is the part where you can undo a lot of good gearing by spending the resources around it badly. First up, Crest. Midnight upgrade tracks overlap. That means the first couple of item levels on a higher track can also be reached at the top end of the track below it. So, for example, before spending valuable hero crests, taking a hero 1 of 6 piece up to 2/6, there can be situations where upgrading the same slot on champion gear first establishes that item level using cheaper crest champion. Once the upgrade system recognizes you've already reached that level in the slot, the corresponding crest cost on the hero piece disappears. That's why I wouldn't follow a blanket rule like never upgrade anything below hero. There are times when upgrading champion gear is exactly what saves you more valuable crests. The actual rule I'd play with: don't pay with an expensive crest for an item level you could have unlocked with a cheaper one. Then we've got the Great Vault and your Nebulous Voidcores. Voidcores are available from the Great Vault from the beginning of Season 2. Raid bonus rolls now only cost 1 Voidcore instead of 2. There is one requirement worth knowing though. As Season 2 is currently set up, you need at least 3 Great Vault choices unlocked in the same week before that Voidcore option becomes available. And that makes what you do this week way more interesting. You've got 3 vault rows to build from: raid, dungeons, world content. So even before the raid opens, getting a dungeon choice alongside multiple world choices can put you in a position to qualify for that void core option. But once the vault actually opens, I still would not blindly choose a void core every single week. If my vault gives me a huge weapon, trinket, tier piece, or another upgrade I expect to keep for a long time, I'm taking the guaranteed item. If my vault is truly awful, tiny upgrades, useless pieces, or stuff I expect to replace immediately, now the void core becomes more attractive, especially if there's an important raid or mythic plus loot pool I want another shot at. So don't turn it into void core is always good, vault items always bad. Judge what you're giving up before you make the choice. And finally, we've got the catalyst. Season 2 changes this in a pretty important way. When you convert eligible armor into your class set, the new tier piece inherits the secondary and tertiary stats from that original item, and certain special cantrip effects can survive this conversion as well, which means a great non-piece sitting in a tier slot can be far more valuable than it first looks. If you've got a helmet, shoulders, chest, gloves, or legs with excellent stats or useful eligible effects, do not throw that away instantly. It could end up being the better catalyst base for you. Especially early in the season, I'd rather hold on to something promising for a little while than realize 2 days later that I vended something I exactly wanted to convert. And that's really the trick to gearing efficiently in Season 2. You don't need to complete every activity Blizzard puts in front of you. You need to know what still improves your character, where the meaningful breakpoints are, and which limited resources are actually worth protecting. Do that properly and the road towards 344 becomes a hell of a lot clearer. Let me know what you're going to be doing first. Mythic Plus, Heroic Raids, Delves, what class are you playing? Drop the video a like, subscribe, and join the sweats. Make sure to follow all the socials and catch us on twitch.tv. I'll catch you like in the next one. Peace!